Hey everybody, welcome to the Alignment Project. I'm super excited to have you here with me today as I welcome an amazing entrepreneur into our group. His name is Braylon Paulino,
Hello, hello.
and I'm super excited to have all of you here. And we're going to be having a powerful conversation today. This is actually designed
Mhm.
to help you to move into a place of clarity, to a place of confidence, and also to help us with our nervous system alignment. So today's guest is someone whose story, energy, and mission truly inspires me. Welcome, Braylon.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing today?
So please help me welcome Braylon by sharing comments with us below as the video progresses. And I know that he'll get back in there and reply to you as appropriate.
Mhm. Okay.
And so will I. So Braylon is a client attraction specialist who helps coaches and business owners like you consistently bring in qualified leads. Like that is, when I talk to other coaches, that is the number one problem,
Mhm.
getting a qualified lead. And a lot of that starts with our messaging.
Mhm.
So, I know that Braylon didn't just wake up doing this work. He
Mhm.
also was an educator just like me. And so I'm excited to be connecting with a fellow educator, somebody who isn't in it anymore, but definitely excited to have you here, Braylon. Welcome. If you would just tell everybody a little bit about what you do, and then we can do a little conscious conversing as
Mhm.
well.
Awesome. So, like Tracy said, my name is Braylon Paulino. And what I do is I help people with attracting clients, but I focus a lot on the messaging. I've noticed that if the messaging is not clear, if the messaging is not aligned, then no matter what you put out, it's just not going to resonate with your ideal clients. And that is something that I faced for so long. I kept getting crickets. And now
Mm.
understanding the frustration, understanding that there's so much content that we put together that we're so proud of, but it gets crickets, right? Understanding that that is not what I help people do is to one, remove the overwhelm, remove the burnout, and then also give them clarity as to what it is that they should be putting out there. And not just content, but your landing pages, any messaging that you put out there, even when you talk to someone, what are the things that you need to say to resonate with your ideal clients? And that's what I do now. And like Tracy said, I didn't just wake up and do this. I had to really, really, really struggle to get here. And some of my friends that I've been meeting with regularly will tell you Braylon has worked to be where he's at right now. And it has not been an easy journey, but just like things going wrong, like the Facebook Live not working, right? Everything that has ever gone wrong or not worked for me
Mhm.
helped me learn and helped me get to where I am. And it gave me, got me closer to my purpose, which is to me what's very, very important here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I I feel all of that. I mean, the biggest piece of being an entrepreneur is like this, like falling down, getting back up, falling down, getting back up again, and also then asking for help. So when you think about like what you do and combining these strategy systems into your business, can you break down what that actually looks like when somebody works with you?
Awesome. So a big piece of everything that I do is the alignment. If you're misaligned, there's nothing that you can do that will get you to where you want to go. I remember when I was just misaligned with myself. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know how I wanted to serve people. I had different ideas, right? I was a teacher, I was a coach, and so I thought I'm going to mentor people. But that's such a vague and general approach. And I just remember sending out different signals. And when I look at different people and their pages and their websites, and even in conversations with them, I see that they're where I was, where it's like, you're sending out so many different signals. And so one of the first steps is we're going to get you extremely clear on this message. We're going to get you the clarity that you need so that every time you sit in front of your computer, in front of a video, wherever it is that you're going to put out this content, you know exactly what it is that you need to say. And that right there in itself removes the overwhelm. And what I call this method is the magnetic messaging method. And for me, the biggest approach of that and the biggest premise is the right message for the right person at the right time. And when we lead our messaging with that, everything we put out is going to resonate with the people that we want it to resonate because, again, it was right for them. And so when I work with people, I take them through one, who is your client? And not just I help coaches or I help businesses, but can you even find this person? I remember back then I used to say something like, I help purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Cannot really find that,
Mm,
right? As much as you want to, and as much as you know people that are purpose-driven, you can't really find that anywhere. And so I help people get extremely clear on who they actually want to serve
mm,
and the person that aligns with who they are. And then I take them through the process of what is the issues that they are having, what are the obstacles that are holding them back from their ultimate desire, and then where can we meet them in that journey. And so I'm a very systematic person. As a teacher, I needed to have the
mm,
right systems in place to make it all work for me, especially when there was just so many things to consider all the time. I was also the type of person that was, I'm going to do everything on my own. And, lately I've been really focusing on building the right systems so that I'm able to do what I do best. Right? I think a lot of us overload our minds, our conscious, our bodies with all this information, with all this stress, with all these things that we have to do,
mm,
that it actually just holds us back. And so we have to be able to take a step back. And so
mm, mm,
a big part of what I do is one, the alignment, building those systems, and then actually giving them strategies that are going to be practical. I know that a lot of people, when they give strategies, they're very vague. And so even if you think, oh, this is a decent strategy, you might not even know how to implement it. So I always think
mm.
back to when I was a teacher, I had to be so simple. I had to be so clear because if I wasn't, they're going to check out. And so when I work with my clients, I try to be as practical as possible, as
Mm.
clear as possible so that they know exactly what their steps are, what they need to do leaving the meeting. This is what they need to do. And if they don't have that, then I know that I failed as a coach, right? I failed as a mentor. And
Mhm.
so a lot, alignment, a lot of systems, and a lot of strategies that actually move those systems forward. Not just busy work, not just here, post 1,000 times a day, but also just we're going to actually be very intentional and purposeful with everything that we do and make sure that it's aligned to that message that, we're anchoring in our business.
Awesome. So it sounds like you have a system that
Mhm,
you help to work into these entrepreneurs' minds.
mhm,
Um, I guess like the big piece of this is having people understand that it doesn't have to take hours in order to get this in alignment.
mhm.
And I'm sure then you guide them through this idea of just helping them do it on their own so it doesn't take a long time for them to learn the system, so it's more practical in that sort of
Mhm.
application.
Yeah,
Because
oh, go ahead.
I know that all of us have felt invisible at some point in our journey. I know even when I started my Facebook group, I had very little, small amount of views,
Mhm,
and just being able to lean into like who I am and finding my own alignment, then people are naturally attracted to us.
mhm. Yeah. And
Mm,
I definitely align with that because it's very easy to feel invisible. And it's very easy that when we feel invisible, we try to be seen and we
mm,
work extremely hard to be seen. And for me, that was honestly a blind spot for me. And I didn't realize it. I was trying so hard to be seen not just in the business, but in everything, in my relationships, when I was playing football with my friends, like I was always trying to be seen and to be respected or whatever it was, because again, I felt unseen. And
Mm,
that made me work even harder. And well, like you said, it's not about doing more, it's not about working harder. It's about moving in alignment. And the more that I stopped chasing these wrong things
mhm,
and actually just going closer and closer to alignment with my purpose, the work didn't feel like work to me. It honestly felt like I am doing something powerful. And I had boundaries because before, when I was trying so hard to be seen, I would work all day, every
mhm,
single day. I went straight back into the hustle, right? I went straight back into working 12-hour days. But now I know that if I'm able to give my time to the important things
mm,
and that's it, I'm going to be more impactful. And so if you're a person that's struggling with feeling invisible
mm,
and feeling unheard, it begins with you. It doesn't begin with other people. You can't force people to see you. You have to see yourself.
mm,
And as you see yourself and you walk in alignment with that, you're going to attract the people that align with that and that will see you for who you are. My community now of friends is so powerful. Like these people see me for who I am. They're always building me up,
mm.
right? They're seeing the value that I can bring. Before I had to chase that, and now I can just call a friend up and they're going to speak life into me, right? But it did begin with me speaking life into myself, with me
Yeah.
loving myself and seeing myself. And then I was able to attract the
Mm.
people that also aligned with that.
Yeah. Walking the walk, right?
Hmm.
One of my first coaches told me that we can only take our clients as far as we're willing to take ourselves.
I love that.
And that is so, so true. Um, I know that we talked about you taking everybody through some sort of like a little example, a short exercise on how to get into this idea of being more magnetic and helping us with our messaging. So I'm super excited to hear about that. I'm open always to other ideas and more help. So
Mhm.
if you're watching out there and you're open to this, just let's listen to what Mr. Paulino has to say for us.
So I'll start a few steps into it, right?
Cool.
But the one thing that I think about that has been very impactful is meeting people where they're at.
Mm,
And so for me, what this means is you have, let's say, one person who knows they have an issue, right? They know there's a problem. They don't know the solution,
mm,
right? And so if I were their coach, what would be the best strategy? Help them find the solution, right?
mm,
A lot of us never think about it this way. When we see people, we see them as everyone else. We don't see them as an individual person. And so, in my magnetic messaging method, one of the steps is to meet them where they are, right? We choose our
mm,
connection point. And so, what that means is I assess first what is their awareness level of the problem, right? For example, if a person needs to work with you and they need to work with the nervous system and learning how to keep it aligned, keep it not stressed out, right? Um, and they want to get to a place where they're not feeling like they're overwhelmed all the time. Are they even aware that they have a problem? Do they even know that they're overwhelmed all the time? Do they even know that they're burnt out,
right.
right?
Mm,
Because a lot of the time we miss that point,
mm,
right? And we speak to everyone the same. So what I do and what I teach people is first you think about all the obstacles that they might have on the way to their ultimate desire.
right.
So if their ultimate desire is to never be overwhelmed, right? Or to learn the systems to never hit burnout again,
Mhm,
which I've been in burnout and it sucks, right? I think about what are all the possible obstacles that they're going to face on the way to never being burnt out.
mm,
And I'm starting to think, well, overwhelm is going to lead to burnout. Not taking care of yourself is going to lead to burnout.
Mhm.
Doing too much is going to lead to burnout. Not having boundaries with yourself, with people, with your time, that's going to lead to burnout. Giving from an empty cup, that's going to lead to burnout, right? And I think about all these different obstacles that might be there. And then I choose one major obstacle. So let's say they don't set boundaries.
Mhm.
Now I think about, are they aware that they don't ever set boundaries and that's the reason they're burnout,
Mhm.
right? I remember being there where I didn't know that. Did not have any boundaries, and I didn't know that that's what was leading me to burnout. I kept giving and giving and giving and giving
Yeah.
because I loved my students. I loved
Mhm.
people, and I kept giving,
Mhm.
giving, 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 giving. My cup was empty, and I kept giving, right? And at some point, I crashed and burned because I kept giving from an empty cup.
Right.
But there are different steps that someone can be at, right? It can be they're aware or they're unaware of the problem. They have no idea they even have this problem. They might know, hey, I do know my problem. I just don't have a solution. They know a solution, right? They know what the solution is, but now they need to find the one that's going to work for them, or they need to find the system or the person that's going to give them that solution. Then they need to think about the offer. So, is this the offer that's actually going to work for me? And then finally, they choose the offer, right? So there are the different steps that they can be at. What I do is I assess, okay, at this problem or this obstacle, what is their awareness level?
Mhm.
And then from there, then I meet them at either point, right?
Okay,
And
gotcha.
all my messaging is focused for that specific person at that specific point. So if I know that they don't know they have a problem, all my messaging is focused on showing
Mm.
people, right, that they have a problem, showing them the symptoms, showing them how they're being held back without realizing it. If I know that this person knows they have a problem, my job is talk about the solutions, right? I'm educating them on the different solutions out there.
Right.
If they know there's a solution out there, my job is not to show them and prove to them that I'm the best solution or that my solution is the best solution. And again, what a lot of people don't realize is that you're talking to the wrong person in your messaging, right? Or you might be talking to the right person, but you're talking to them at the different point in time
Mm.
or at the different point in their
Absolutely.
journey. And so because it's the wrong point in their journey, it's not resonating.
Mhm.
One of the things that I like to ask is if I'm struggling with, client attraction, and all I need in this moment is just one quick guide that's going to teach me some of the mistakes that I'm making, why would I be talking about a $6,000 coaching program?
Right.
They're not gonna care, right? Because that's not what they need right now.
Mhm.
What they need is what they want in this moment, in this specific point in their journey. And so this is hard to do because a lot of the time we think from a place of lack and not abundance. So we think if we get really, really clear on who we're serving, then therefore we're not going to reach enough people, right? But it's when you get in alignment with this person that you want to
Yeah.
serve at this specific point in the journey, you start to bring people from other points in the journey because they now see you as the solution to this problem. Or they might start thinking, hey, I'm already ahead of where this is at. Maybe they might be able to help me with bigger breakthroughs, right? And I've
Mhm.
had that happen where I was speaking to someone about smaller breakthroughs and somebody messaged me and was like, well, can you help with those people that want to have even bigger breakthroughs? And I was like, yeah, I can. Right. And it pushes me to meet a different standard. And so, very short part of the system, right? But it's all about, again, meeting people where they're at,
For
not just
sure.
where you think, not where you think they should be at, not where you want them to be at, but you meet them where they're at and you meet them where they're at with the right solution that they need at that specific moment. Because if you're
Right.
giving them anything else, it's not going to resonate. Because
Mm.
again, they're thinking about different things. For example, one group might just need education that they have a problem. Another group just needs the proof that your solution is the best one.
Mm.
So if you're again giving them the wrong thing, they're just going to check out and move on to the next person.
So in your like system, do you help other coaches understand the process of conveying like the transformation to their messaging?
Yes, and and that becomes clear once you know who you're serving at what specific point in time. And this actually worked really well for me. So when I developed the magnetic messaging method, it came from my frustration. It came from my struggle of like, why is my message not resonating? And what I learned is that as I got really clear on where they were at, all I had to think is, okay, if they're right here in this moment in time and this point in their journey, what solutions do they need right here to get them to the next step, right? And that has worked wonders because all the solutions that I can think of, I can turn them into different offers because people actually want those solutions because they're facing these
Mhm.
problems. And so I went from being confused about my solution from this is what I think I want to do, right? This is how I think I might help them to now very specifically just thinking of like six different things that I can help them with and building offers around that. And so I
Mhm.
went from 1.5 offers to now I can think of six different things that I can help people with in six different ways at six different price points, right? And that only was possible because I was very clear on what they needed in that moment in time,
Mhm.
right? Once you know that, messaging changes for you. The
Yeah.
transformation that you're speaking is very clear because you know the transformation that they need right now, right? You're not going to tell somebody that doesn't know they have a problem that the what they're going to get is this big transformation that's going to happen way in the future. Instead, you're going to tell them, "Hey, you're going to be very clear on what your problem is and you'll be able to take steps to change it." That's
Mhm.
a more, doable transformation. But once you move them up, you'll be able to keep moving them up
Right, for sure.
closer and closer and closer to that bigger transformation that you have. So
Mm.
you're walking with people instead of just like, here's a transformation, you want it or you don't. Boom. You're actually helping people and serving them and moving them up step by step. And that is one of the biggest parts of what I work with people with is we get really clear and now we think about the offers that they actually want right now and we go from there. And that
Okay.
makes the messaging so much easier.
Mm.
I also have a framework. I call it the magnetic relevance framework. Every single time that I'm about to put a message together, I have it next to me and I'm reading it and I have like a few questions for each of the
Mm.
steps. I don't struggle posting anymore. Before I would sit in front of a computer and just like,
Mm.
what am I gonna say? And I would freeze and I would stare blankly for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, give up sometimes, and then I would put out content that wasn't really good. And I think that that's one reason why people start to turn to AI to write their messages for them. It's because of that overwhelm and that feeling of, I can't even think, like, I just need to put something out, and they feel like they have to put something out. But with this framework, I have the questions in front of me, and I've had 100% success rate with my messaging in terms of I've been able to write something every single time that I sit down with this framework.
Mm.
And for some people, that's powerful. Just, I know exactly what I need to say right now. That's a very powerful step for a lot of people because again, they
Mhm.
struggle with that. And so, yeah, just to, answer that question again, once you get really clear on who you want to serve and at what specific point in their journey, you know, expressing that transformation that they need is so much easier and is so much more clear.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I know that as educators, because we still are educators, even though we're in the coaching space,
Hmm.
when we look at working with people, a lot of this is like the practice that we go through where we show them how it's done, and then we walk beside them
Hmm.
while they're doing it, and then we let them do it on their own while we're guiding them. So when you work with your clients, are you working with them in a group setting? Are you working with them one-on-one, or like how do you have your business structured?
So I have options for both.
Mm,
because again, just thinking about what do they need.
mm,
I remember for some of my students, they needed one-on-one. Some students needed a group setting. Some people needed to be able to build ideas off of each other. Right now, my number one focus is putting people in a group. And the reason is not because not to split my attention, but it's
mhm,
because there's so much that you can learn from other people
mhm.
in the
Yeah, for
journey,
sure.
right? Everyone is at such different points in their journey. Everyone is, has a different purpose. And if you are able to have these conversations with different people on a similar path, not the same path, but a similar path, you can learn so much from it. And so my number one structure is that group setting because I'm able to, one, give them the help and attention and education, but at the same time, they can learn from each other.
Right. Yeah.
At the same time, though, one of the things that I think is powerful is also considering as you do group, maybe giving the option of like once a month doing a one-on-one with
Mm,
each person, right? Or every a couple of weeks, whatever it is, whatever feels comfortable for you. That way they're able to get both. Now, some coaches thrive with just group setting. Some coaches thrive with just one-on-one, right? And there are
mhm.
different approaches to both. But I think that finding a solution that works for everyone is it's helpful. And so yeah, so I appreciate the group. I think they can learn a lot from each other. It does also, from a business standpoint, it also saves a little bit more time so that you're able to expand the impact. Because one of the things that I've done is I'm putting all my attention into different things that I'm not able to actually coach. I'm not able to actually have the impact that I want to have. And so freeing up some time so that I can really develop that is also important. So
Mm.
you just have to think about, again, what's in alignment with what you want and then build a system around that.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Taking like the outcome or the transformation, like for me, and then working backwards, reverse engineering, backwards planning, whatever you want to call it, is actually, I think, the best way to do it because then we can keep our eyes on the prize.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's I'm reading a book right now, and as soon as you said that, I was like, that's all I've been thinking about. It's
Hmm.
when you set such a big goal, and it's kind of like lesson planning. You backwards plan. You think about your goal, and then you build everything around it, your mindsets, which people don't think about, your habits, right? And then your boundaries. Everything that you do or that you are every single day needs to be leading you towards that goal, towards that vision. If your goal is not causing you to do that, your goal is not big enough.
Yeah. Well,
And
there's that piece on also like just this idea of being able to change our identity. I know I taught high school for a long time. So when I came into the coaching space, that was an easy transformation for me. But
mhm,
we have people who are in coaching who never did any activities with people before. So their identity crisis could be different and take longer to move through, but
mhm,
still having the passion for that and having this ability to convey our message while we're talking to people, while we're writing our posts,
mhm,
and making sure that we are. I even like when I'm in Messenger, I make sure that my energy is right. Because if it's not, I know I can sense it when people write me and it's not there. A lot of what I think is important is just connecting with people
mhm,
and letting them know that we're a safe place for them
mhm.
and building those relationships from there. Yeah.
No, that's very powerful. Just thinking, I had not like thought about just the fact that as a teacher, easy transition into coaching, very easy. But there are people that are not there and they're not able to make the switch. But what I do want to say is if you are a person that wants to make the switch as quickly as possible, learn to fail.
Right.
Learn to be
Mm.
okay with putting yourself out there and failing because that's the only way that you grow. You have to try everything, right? Get really clear on your message, get really clear on alignment, and then just jump at it. Even if you fail, even if you fall,
Hmm.
you are going to be okay because you're growing through the process. The faster that you can put yourself in that tension, the
Mm-hmm.
faster you will grow. And I think that why some people slow down is because they're scared of that, right? They're scared of that tension. They're
Mm-hmm.
scared of the obstacle. They're scared of failing. When I jumped into this business, I left my stable career. Like I left the classroom and started immediately. It wasn't like I planned ahead of time and saved up all this money for it. I literally just, I'm making this jump. And because of that, it has forced me, right? There was no time to waste. It forced me to actually grow, to actually learn. I went from getting crickets on all my content to calling myself a client attraction specialist and then meeting the standard, right?
Right.
And I think that that's what people need to do is set a
Mm-hmm.
goal that's going to force you to change.
Yeah.
Set a standard that's going to force you to change. Because when that happens, right, you're going to do it. You're going to meet the bar. It might take some time, it might take some failure, but if you want to get there as quickly as possible, you do have to be okay with
Yeah.
failing
Yeah.
and not be so scared of it because
Mm.
I do think that everything is divine and that's how God works, right? You're going to be transformed by the obstacles. You're going to persevere under trial, right? And that's what's going to lead you to the end result. And the end result is never, ever going to be what you thought it was.
Mm-mm.
Ever. It's always going to be so much different, so much better, right? So much more impactful than you even thought of. But you do have to be okay with just making those jumps, right? You
Yeah.
make a jump, you get to a place where it's like, oh, I'm getting comfortable. You make another jump, and you keep making those jumps until you get to a place where you're like, wow, I cannot believe that I'm here. But it does begin with, again, just be okay with the failure and
Mm-hmm.
look at it in the face and say, you know what, I'm going to grow and learn through this, and I'm going to become the person that can handle this, that can do this, that
Right.
can achieve these amazing things.
Well, taking the time to reflect on where we were last week, last month, or last year is very powerful and just showing us like how far we've come. So when you think about helping people grow, like how are people able to work with you? Like what is going on in your business right now?
So I just keep thinking about my journey, right? And how hard it was and how much work it took to just be here. But then at the same time, I also thought I am very different than everyone else. So the way that I handled it, the way that I grew through it, not everyone can do the same
Hmm.
or even needs to do the same. Everyone has their own different obstacles, their own different battles. And so when I work with people, that's the number one thing that I remember is also just, you know what, everyone's at a different place. Everyone needs unique help. And I think that having a framework, having a method, but then also being able to give everyone unique help, that's so important. And so for people that are willing to work with me, I've tried to make it as easy as possible to contact me and to find my information. So mentormebray.com, that's my website. Mentormebray@gmail.com, that's my email. Make it super clear, right?
Hmm.
Um, and as far as what's going on in my business, I am really working on meeting those massive standards that I've set for myself. I've set some goals that would have terrified me before. And now, even though they're big, scary goals, I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make it happen? And so I'm really working on the systems right now and freeing up the time so that I can actually serve people. I am going to be more present on Facebook Lives and giving people this, this help and service as well. So if there is anyone interested in working with me and just making that message magnetic and resonate every single time, you can either email me, you can, go on my website, there's my calendar on there as well. You can friend me on Facebook as well and start a conversation with me. I would love to get to know you. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm not that pushy type of person. I really do want to have a conversation with you, get to know you a little bit better, If you don't want to work with me, that's okay. I'm still going to serve you,
Mm,
right? Because I know that if we help people,
mm,
they can help other people. And Tracy, looking at your community, you're always showing up to serve, and I'm just seeing it grow every week, right? And
mm.
that's cool
Yeah.
because the impact
Mm,
doesn't just end on the one person that you're serving. It's truly generational because you are impacting one person that impacts the next and the next and the next. And I think that that's what's important about what we do. It's we're showing up to truly serve people. It's not about me, and I hope that people can sense that when they
mm,
communicate with
mm.
me. It's really not about me. I truly do want to serve. I I'm doing this for, for God. Like for me, it's about my purpose. And I know that I'm put here
Right.
to love and impact people. And then I also think about my wife and my pug, right? My pug
Mm.
Chunky. And I do want to give them the best lives possible. And so for me, that's why I do it. It's not really about me. And
Right.
so if you're a person that is interested in even just becoming friends, even just becoming colleagues, even if you just want to do lives like this and have these conversations, I'm open to those things. But if you are interested in working with me, you can message me again on Facebook or just email me as well.
Wonderful. I just want to say to everybody that one of my mantras is that everything is energy. And so when we make sure that we're tuned up, that it's easier for us to go out into the world and work on everybody else. And so for those of you who are feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or like you're pouring so much of yourself out, just give yourself some time to take a step back
Mhm.
and look at where you can get curious because you're not doing it wrong. You are exactly in the right place. I mean, I just feel like making sure that these messages resonate with all of you because a lot of times when we look at working with other people, it's just a matter of getting curious, having a conversation with them. And I do love having the Alignment Project and being able to bring all of you a ton of value every time that I show up in the group. So I know that after we're finished, that Braylon will be able to post his links and ways to connect with everybody in the comments below. And I just encourage all of you to make sure that you are staying in your own alignment and that you are going to work on making it a wonderful day. All right. Thank you so much, Braylon, for being here.
Thank you.